Hi friends, welcome to Chica and Ash Adventures. So today we are going to talk about a very important topic, that is budget and expenses, monthly budget and expenses for dogs. This is a long pending video and we have been getting so many requests about uploading this one. So without delaying any further, I'm going to post this as soon as possible. We've already put a video on home cooked food for dogs. If you haven't checked it already, then please check the link in the description below. And after checking that, do check this video. So you will find it more relatable and you will find it more helpful. Now, today we are going to talk about monthly budget. Now, why budget? So yes, we like to spoil them. We like to spoil our dogs as babies and we love them to the core, yes. But I feel a little discipline is very important and goes a long way. Just as we do our budget, I feel it is very important to keep a budget aside for dogs. On the other hand, what happens most of the time is our own priorities, like our house rent, our travel, our kids, their schooling and everything all takes a very important like a priority in our life, and the expenses of dogs are taken as a last priority. So just so this doesn't happen, I feel we have to make a monthly budget or a monthly expense. We have to actually write it down. If you can write it down on a pen and paper, it would be nothing like it, but there are different online apps also which you can use. I personally like to I'm a little old school, so I like to write it on pen and paper, and it has helped us a lot way. Please note, I am not here to, I don't want any hatred messages or any negative comments in the comments below. I am just putting this video because I feel all these guidelines will help you all as a pet parent, and especially new pet parents who don't know how much to spend, what to spend, so that we don't overspend sometimes, or at times we don't fall short and compromise on the dog expenses. So this is what we do, or this is what we follow for Chica and Ash. But every dog is different. I keep on saying this again and again. Every dog's needs are different. Every person is also different, and your spending capacity might be very different than what I spend for my dogs. So please, I don't want any negative comments, and hope this video is helpful for you all. When we talk about expenses for dogs, there are two different things. One is the living expense and one is the variable expense. So when we talk about living expense, what comes under it? First and foremost, the food. Now why I'm saying it foremost is because if you feed right, you will save a lot on the second point, that is the vet expenses. The third one comes as the medicine and supplements, which is again necessary. The fourth one is leash, collar, harness, or whatever you are using. Now these four are like the must and very important things for the dogs. The variables come as treats, toys, accessories, bedding, or gifts for friends. I'm going to talk about all of this point by point in the video ahead, so just stay with me on that. Now under living expense, let's talk about the first thing, that is food. Now in food there are different things. One is the commercial food that we feed, like kibbles and all, and one is the home cooked food or raw food that people feed. Sometimes people feed mix also. Since I feed home cooked and freshly cooked food to the girls, I am going to talk about the same. Some tips that you can take back from this video. The first and foremost point is buy local. It's good to feed exotic vegetables like broccoli or kale or stuff like that. Of course they are nutrient rich, and of course it's very healthy. But I would rather feed something that is grown locally, like pumpkin or carrot or gourds or stuff like that, and it is going to save me a lot of money, because broccoli is of course 200 rupees a kg, or maybe more, or maybe less, depends on place to place. But gourds or carrots are going to cost me much lesser, like 60 to 80 rupees per kg. So I will rather feed something which is grown locally and which is more available locally, rather than buying exotic vegetables from some supermarkets. That is my point number one. Point number two is buy in bulk. Now, trust me, if you are feeding home cooked food or freshly cooked food to your dogs, it always makes sense to buy or invest in a deep freezer or a fridge, or which has like a good freezer, like good capacity of freezer. So last year we got this big fridge only for the girls, and believe me, it has saved us a lot of time and also money. Now, why I'm saying is because we all know buying in bulk is always cheaper. So, let's say for example, we had gone to Mahabaleshwar some time back and we got lots of berries. Now, what I did was I pureed it, I put it in molds and I froze them. We had visited one of our friends' farm who grows herbs. So we got lots of herbs from there at a very good price, very lesser price than what is available in the market. So the same thing I did. I just pureed it, I froze, and I feed them on an everyday basis. So if you're buying meats, for example, these local butchers or wherever you're going, buying in bulk is always cheaper. So you buy it in bulk and freeze it, and it lasts for months together if you just store it in the right form. So that is my point number two. Buy in bulk. It always saves a lot of money. And a very important point, it saves on fuel too, because you don't have to go again and again to buy stuff for your dogs. So yes, it does save a lot of money. Now, point number three is buy only that's necessary. Just because XYZ is feeding something to their dogs doesn't mean you have to feed it too. Your dog might not even require it. And if you are in doubt, I would always say consult your vet or maybe a nutritionist, or do your own research, or sometimes just go by the gut feeling. I mean, it has worked for me always. But don't buy something or don't feed your dog something just because somebody posted on Instagram or wherever that this is very healthy and nutritious for your dog. Your dog might not even need it. So don't feed only that's necessary, buy only that's necessary. Don't go on impulse buying. We girls tend to do a lot of impulse buying shopping, and trust me, it does save a lot of money when you don't do it. The fourth point is feed seasonal. Now, there's a reason why a particular vegetable or a particular fruit is grown in a particular season. So we have climate changes now with global warming. Definitely we don't have, I mean, it rains like 12 months a year these days, it has become crazy. But still, there's a reason why even we as humans have certain festivals in certain months, and that is when we cook certain things, which are healthy for our body, because our body needs that. Like, we have til and good and stuff like that in winter because we can digest that, our body can digest that. So dogs also adjust or adapt themselves to the environment you are staying in or to the climatic changes. So I have seen that with time. Trust me, with Ash now 8 years and Chica now 5 years, they adapt themselves, they adjust themselves. That is why you might also see a lot of shedding. They have their shedding seasons. So because that is the climatic changes that they are adapting themselves to. So feed seasonal. Why? Because it is grown in that particular month or that particular climate, and hence the supply is more. Once the supply is more, of course it is cheaper. Like you will find mutton or green peas and carrots very cheap in winter season than maybe in summer season, or in winter or in monsoons. So of course when the supply is more, it turns out to be a lot cheaper, and it is very healthy for your dogs, of course, because it's seasonal. So feed seasonal stuff, trust me, it turns out to be very cheap. So I would say feed cucumbers and watermelons in summer, or feed maybe berries and carrots in winter, or sweet potato and gourds in monsoons. So that way you can just whenever you're making the chart, you can figure out what season, what vegetable or fruit is more available, and you can feed the same. Now once we've figured out how to feed, let's see what to feed. So I'm going to make a chart here. I'm just going to show you how I plan it out. Now this is a monthly chart. Let's take it as July 22 because that's the month that is going on. Now Chica and Ash digest chicken very well. So most of their meals are with chicken. It turns out cheaper, yes, and also because they are digesting it well. So so now week 1 I would feed chicken every day. I would feed it with chicken bhakri or chicken rice or chicken vegetables. And the 7th day and the 21st day, that is the every alternate Sunday, Chica and Ash's dad actually gets mutton and cooks for himself. So that is the time he gets mutton for the girls also, and we cook it and give it to the girls. Now the second week I would feed pork or buff depending on what we are getting fresh. And alternate Sundays we feed buttermilk or curd rice or bone broth. Now this is like their stomach rest day. So most of the people even make their dogs fast for the whole day. But I don't make them fast. I would rather feed curd rice, or I would feed bone broth and bhakri and something like that, So bhakri is basically the roti made of jowar or bajra or nachni, and which is very healthy, and girls have been digesting it quite well. So I am a regular in feeding that. So the third week again chicken. Now vegetables I keep on changing, as I said earlier, as and when they are available according to the season or according to what is available fresh. I keep on changing that. And the last week I would again feed pork or buff, and the same on Sunday like buttermilk or curd rice or bone broth. And the last 3 days I would keep it for something if I'm like cooking something special like a pizza or maybe eggs. I would feed. Sometimes we get quail eggs, sometimes we get duck eggs, sometimes we get chicken eggs. So we would make omelette or scrambled eggs, or sometimes we make pancakes like banana pancake, fruit pancakes. That is what Chica and Ash, both of them love. So or if I'm too lazy, I would just feed chicken. So 3 days in a month, we would feed something which is like different, not the meat stuff. Fish. Now talking about fish, I usually make I get fish in bulk and I make a paste and I put it in the mold, freeze it, and I add it like 1 mold to their diet every day, like to their bowl every day. If I want to exclusively feed fish, then like in Ganpati, Navratri, we get fish at a very cheaper rate here because no one usually goes to buy that. So that is the time I would substitute chicken with fish. Or sometimes according to season, I would feed turkey, or if we are getting fresh turkey, rabbit, quail, then I would substitute pork or buff with these kind of meats. So you have to keep on changing. I mean, I like to add variety and I like to keep on changing. I like to make their bowls colorful, but it is entirely up to you. And again, please consult your vet or nutritionist what to feed and when to feed your dog. Also keep a weekly tab about how much you are spending. Like let's say you get meats today, so just make a tab about how much you spend. So like buff, maybe you got 3 kilos and you write 900 rupees or whatever, I mean, or chicken you've got 2 kgs, 600 rupees and whatever. You just keep a weekly tab, and as and when you keep on writing it, you will get a hang of how much you are spending monthly. Maybe in 2-3 months, it won't happen in the first month itself, but as and when you do it, you will get a hang about how much you're spending in a month on your dog's diet. Now let's talk about the second living thing, like the living expense, that is the vet expense. So this, I would say, have some money, put it in an envelope and just keep it aside as an emergency fund. Just as we have an emergency fund for our medical expenses, I personally, or rather we personally do that, and we keep some funds aside for their medical expense or their as an emergency fund. So this amount will increase if their yearly vaccinations are due, or maybe if your dog is undergoing some regular tests or having any medical issue, then that will increase. But otherwise, you can have some certain amount which you can put in an envelope and just keep it aside as an emergency fund for dogs. Let's talk about the third one, that is the medicines and supplements. Now this varies from dog to dog, and I can't really comment here about the expenses because it doesn't make sense. Let's talk about the 4th point, that is the leash and harness. Now what I feel is a good quality one is more than enough than buying 10 different or colorful ones. Again, it is up to you how much you want to spoil your pet, how much is your spending capacity. But here, since we are talking about budgeting and expenses, what I feel is a good quality one is more than enough. So we use martingale collars and rough wear harness for the girls. So this is really long lasting and has saved us a lot of money. So we have 2, and leashes, we have like 2 leashes each and 2 extra. So that's it. We don't have like a cupboard full of leashes and harness and collars. Let's talk about the variables. The first point is toys. So again, it depends on person to person and dog to dog, how much you want to, how many toys you want to buy to your dog. But generally pick a toy that your dog loves to play with. How you can choose is it, if dogs are almost allowed in all the pet shops now. So let your dog choose a toy rather than you just going and buying 10 different things. So it is just going to lie waste and your dog is not going to play with it, or maybe play with it for just one day and then it will go waste. So let your dog choose and let your dog actually enjoy playing with the toys rather than just buying 10 different toys. Also remember, dogs' choices change with age. Like Chica, earlier she used to love playing with soft toys or maybe squeaky toys. But now she loves playing with balls more, or she doesn't like tug much because she just gives it away. But all those sniffing games or the nose work games, those puzzles, that is what she enjoys. Ash loves to play with tugs and squeaky toys. She doesn't like balls much. So as they age, their choices also change. So keep that in mind when you are buying toys for your dog. Let's talk about the next thing, that is the treats. Our favorite treats these days are the dehydrated ones. They are multi-purpose because they keep the dog engaged and also it helps in dental cleaning of the dogs. But please remember, too much of anything is bad. So don't give it every day because it's dehydrated and might lead to dry skin for your dogs. So we usually love making treats at home. We have numerous videos on the same, and we love filling it in kongs or on leaky mats and stuff like that. So that way it does save a lot of money and you know what's going in your dogs. The next topic is accessories or bedding. Now again, dogs would sleep on beds only in winters, or dogs are allowed on your bed, or they need to sleep in their bed. It's all your personal choice. It's all according to how you train your dog. But buy a bedding that actually is comfortable for your dog. Don't just buy because it's fancy, it's nice looking, it's a good looking bed to your eyes, but your dog might not even want to step on it. So see what your dog likes. Sometimes, trust me, even a normal gadda or a bed sheet does the thing. But if you want to buy a bed or a mat, there are many different varieties available online now and some really good ones. So choose it wisely. Accessories, well, again, it's a personal choice. We are not in favor of dressing up dogs at all. I mean, only bow ties and bandanas is what we bought. That too in early days. Now, some of Chica and Ash's friends to gift them, and that is what we have put. But generally, we are not in favor of putting too much of clothing or accessories on dogs. We like them to be free. And coming to the last point. So, the last point is gifts for friends. Now, yes, our dogs do have their own social circle and they are invited to parties, birthday parties, gotcha days, get togethers, and stuff like that. And we can't go empty handed, so we, of course, have to carry gifts for their friends. Now, sometimes we do get gifts which are not useful for us, like, our dogs won't even use them. So, it is a wise decision to pass it forward. The gifts that you've already got, we have been doing it with our human gifts, from our mothers and grandmothers and all that time. So we can do the same with dogs too. If a gift is not useful and if it's just lying down, of course you can pass it forward if the other dog is going to use it. But if you want to buy something, I would say rather keep a lookout for online sales or pet shops running sales and discounts and stuff like that. That is the best time to just buy it and keep it and give it as and when it's needed. So yeah, that's those are a few points that we did mention. Hope you found it useful and helpful. If there are anything that I have missed and which you have been following, please do let us know in the comments below, and follow us on our Instagram ID Chikash Adventures. We do keep posting a lot of pictures and videos and our outings and stuff there. If you haven't checked out our Himachal Diaries series, we've put some 30 odd videos in that, and it was one of the most memorable trips we took. So please do check it out too. I'll put a link to that in the description below. And please keep showering all the love. I'm going to post, there's a demand to post a video about the expenses that occurred to us in the month-long trip. So I have that diary ready, and after this I'm going to put that video too. So please do keep showering the love, and we enjoy making such videos and following our motto, exploring everything pet friendly. Bye bye and woof woof from Chikash Adventures.